welcome to ILTV's Evening Update. I'm Aaron Porras here with the latest news from Israel.
Today, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived in Moscow for talks on Iran and the ongoing Syrian civil war. The Prime Minister told Russian President Putin that the Golan Heights must never be part of any resolution to end the Syrian conflict. During Netanyahu's one-day trip to Russia, he's expected to focus on Russia's involvement in the Syrian civil war and to urge the Kremlin not to allow Iran a permanent foothold in the country. Iran and Russia have been close allies in supporting embattled Syrian strongman Bashar al-Assad. The Israeli and Russian world leaders are also expected to discuss ongoing military coordination to ensure that their forces don't clash over the Syrian skies. A source close to Netanyahu has claimed that Moscow will allow Israel to act within Syria against Hezbollah. Israeli officials have also long accused Iranian Revolutionary Guard officials of trying to build an anti-Israel front in the Syrian Golan, oftentimes using Hezbollah. Netanyahu flew to Moscow in a small jet accompanied by Minister Zev Elkin, retired Brigadier General Jacob Nagel, his Chief of Staff Yoav Horowitz, Military Secretary Brigadier General Eliezer Toledano, and Herzl Halevi, who is the head of the IDF Intelligence Corps. Today, the State Department released $221 million in United States aid to the Palestinian Authority. The aid had been granted by former United States Secretary of State John Kerry during the final hours of the Obama administration, but had been frozen by Trump until earlier today. Yesterday, acting State Department spokesman Mark Toner told reporters that to his knowledge the money had been released, but that the issue is still under review. Toner had said that money would go directly to the Palestinian Authority for water, infrastructure, education, renewable energy, civil society, and municipal governance programs in the West Bank, as well as towards the promotion of the rule of law and recovery efforts in the Gaza Strip. A portion of the funds will also go to hospitals in East Jerusalem and to pay back Israeli creditors. Congress had initially approved the Palestinian funding in budget years 2015 and 2016. United States lawmakers were concerned, however, that aid money had been diverted to pay for stipends going to the families of Palestinian terrorists, including those responsible for the murder of large numbers of Israeli civilians. Although, even without the $221 million, a Palestinian official claimed that the PA had already received $250 million from the United States government the previous year. These funds included $180 million from USAID, $25 million to support Palestinian hospitals, and $45 million to pay for fuel purchased from Israel. It seems the Palestinian Authority isn't the only organization that Israel would like to see defunded for abuse of donated money. Israeli Defense Secretary Avigdor Lieberman, who is in the U.S. this week meeting with his counterparts, sat down yesterday with United States Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and asked him to consider defunding both the UN Human Rights Council and the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, or the UNHRC, and UNRWA, respectively. According to Lieberman, as well as many Israeli officials this past week, these international agencies not only fail to fulfill their missions, but they actively work against their interests when obsessively focusing on Israel. Last week, even the United States envoy to the UNHRC, Aaron Barclay, called the organization out for its behavior, saying, quote, "Regrettably, too many of the actions of this council do not support these universal principles. Indeed, they contradict them. No other nation is the focus of an entire agenda item. The obsession with Israel is the largest threat to this council's credibility. It limits the good we can accomplish by making a mockery of this council. The U.S. will oppose any effort to delegitimize or isolate Israel," end quote. In addition, just over the past week and a half, 2 different UNRWA employees were found to be highly involved in the Hamas terror organization. Today, the Foreign Relations Committee approved President Trump's Israel envoy pick, David Friedman. 11 Republican senators voted for Friedman, as well as Senator Bob Menendez from New Jersey, who broke ranks with the Democratic Party. Friedman had faced widespread opposition from Democrats and some American Jews over his financial donations to Jewish settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, both considered illegal under international law. Friedman's also been quoted as calling the supporters of J Street, a left-leaning Jewish advocacy group, as being worse than capos, a term that refers to Jews who willingly collaborated with the Nazis. Friedman has also publicly opposed the two-state solution, which has been the cornerstone of United States foreign policy in the Middle East. Friedman has no known diplomatic experience and by trade is a bankruptcy lawyer who has worked extensively in Trump's business empire.
That's all for now. Stay tuned on ILTV.tv for our main daily broadcast playing after this. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you next time with our morning briefing from Israel at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.